All right, guys. Here's a very quick guaranteed agency growth formula. I know that sounds good. The number one point probably sounds a lot like what you would read before you have to give your email and get a bullshit guide and go into an automated spam system until you buy stuff. But this is very simple. Um, Nothing in here is tremendously innovative, but it is backed by a lot of data. This works both for growing your agency business. This also works for growing your client's business. You can use the same strategy. It works extremely well. In the promote the heck out of the content, which you'll find out what the content is here in a second. I'm going to give you guys a few, I guess, examples of some places you can network and get this content out. Some of them I guarantee you will have heard of. Some of them I almost guarantee you will not. Everything I'm going to show you, let's just say some of them are just grouped inside of this acquisition category. Three of them, one of my partner agencies uses for acquisition very successfully. The other ones I know, and you guys will probably have known people that have grew their business that way too. So again, nothing incredibly innovative, but it's just a solid way to go. So for number one, turn your audience into inbound leads. Oh shit, I messed that up. Something I see quite often is, well, people doing outreach, and a lot of the outreach is based on like, hey, let me give you a free audit, or some of the outreach kind of goes aggressive on a guarantee. Like, for example, if I'm doing outreach for performance-based marketing, right? I want to sell leads, then I don't have to reinvent the wheel. In a lot of cases, I can say, hey, I'm doing performance-based, blah, blah, blah. I can do qualified leads for this cost, and I'll also put a guarantee on them that if they don't meet these expectations, you get your money back, or we'll replace the leads, whatever. And we'll do this before you do that. It kind of provides a security blanket, and it's a bit easier to sell, right? But if you're selling retainer-based services, I like to have a really good kind of foot in the door strategy, and this has been something we used a lot. You've probably even seen other people use it, and that's using case studies. I like to make a piece of case study content, and I believe that if you want to grow your agency fast, and I guess before I even finish that thought, I'm a really big fan of efficiency and ease, right? Like, I don't want to cold call, and I don't want to create systems that does mass cold outreach and have to pull them through funnels. Like, that can be a lot of work. And it's not the fact that it doesn't work, right? Because it does. It's a numbers game. And anytime it's a numbers game, it's like the only way to scale that is additional resources, additional people, additional time invested, right? And then kind of optimizing and refining all of those things. Like, it's very tedious. It can be very tedious anyway. Something like this, it makes it easy because any of you guys right there right now, right? If I say, hey guys, I have a way, right? Or not even I have a way. It's say like, hey guys, I took this other agency and I grew the revenue by 300% in 12 months using some simple strategies. And all of you guys that have an agency would probably be interested in that. Think about that for a second. Someone comes up and let's say this is like, it's not a course, right? It's not an info course. It's not consulting. It's a little bit higher level of an offer. Like, it's more of like a partnership, an equity, a buy-in type offer, or something along those lines. And I'm like, hey guys, here's agencies just like yours, and I have a few of them where I took the revenue from X to Z, or X, Y to Z in this amount of time. Here was the increase. It's like, how many of you would be interested in hearing about that? I mean, I'm assuming a lot of you would be like, wow, I'd at least like to hear about this. I'm intrigued, right? I want to grow my agency in the same type of way. So it's that type of an effect. You're turning people's interest meter up, right away. So I recommend everyone create case study content right out the gate. I'm not a huge fan of doing free work. I'm assuming a lot of you probably aren't in a position where you'd have to do free work to get a case study. But I would literally do free. If I was just starting today and I didn't have like a bunch of capital, I would literally do free or high or deeply discounted work in exchange for the ability to do a case study on it and a testimonial video, which I would also have them use the punchline of my case study in there as well. So again, this is very simple. We're talking about a case study here. Just in case you guys go back to the recording, I'll take a few notes. It's very simple. So I'm not even sure we need to talk a lot more about that. Obviously, the things that are going to appeal to your prospect, or what you should use in terms of the case studies, whatever you're selling. So if you're selling SEO, it always has to go to the macro, right? The macro KPI or the macro conversion. Like, people want more customers, right? And I'm assuming a lot of you are in the business of growing people's businesses through customer acquisition, whether that's SEO or ads or what have you. So that's the verbiage we're going to have to keep. If you're a security company, it would be along those type of lines where, hey, we helped thwart, X amount of cyber attacks on our clients, or, this client was hacked, and here was the consequences of them being hacked, and here's how we fixed it, and now how they're living their best life because of us, right? So it has to be geared towards that. So and that brings me to specificity being king. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, for example, I'm a big fan of niching down. I don't know how many of you guys work in a specific niche or even specific areas. This can work for areas as well. Having this case study and this testimonial. So let's also jump up here. We also want a testimonial. Don't forget about that. We want a testimonial, really a video from the client. Okay, if I could spell, that'd be perfect. Damn it. Okay, we really want a video from the client, and again, we want this video to repeat, or I guess repeat might not be the best way, but we wanted to drive home our punchline or our pitch, and that's going to be the X percent rev growth in X months, years, right? So that's what we want that to do. And getting all that from a client shouldn't be too bad. Again, if you have to incentivize getting it, go ahead. But between the case study and that testimonial video, that's going to be our entire marketing plan for this strategy. Okay, and then specificity is important. So it's like check out Bob's. That's Bob from Chaz's last presentation. Check out Bob, the Be More dentist, right? Doubled his practice and blah blah blah, right? Put specificity there. I'm not gonna get lazy on you guys. Practice in 19 months, whatever it is. Whoops. So that's specific. It's Baltimore. You're reaching out to Baltimore people. If it's dentists, we can just, we don't even need the Be More in that case. But I know some of you guys probably work pretty heavily in a specific geography. And for this for the promote the content section, one of the little tricks I'm going to show you, not really tricks, one of the strategies I'm going to show you guys is probably going to put you in the room with a lot of business owners from a certain area. So having that geographic specificity could work well. So again, whatever your service is, try to highlight the best part of the service as well. I know you guys heard this before. This has been, I'm not going to say I invented this or innovated this, but I definitely helped popularize it a lot of years ago, and that was like leads in X amount of days. So we used to do leads in 7 days or money back, right? Now, trying to pull that, or that's just like a really good hook, right? That's just like a really good proposition. What we can do is kind of pull that in to the case study, right? So now we're looking at Bob, damn it, Bob the dentist got leads in 7 days. And you could even do like part of our guarantee, right? Part of our guarantee. And over the next 19 months, doubled his practice. Something like that, right? Where now we not only have that like that social proof, right? But we also have part of that irresistible offer built in too. I know any of you guys that ever watched any of my videos where I talk about acquisition, if you ever came to the masterminds when I talked about acquisition, I'm really big on the irresistible offer. So anytime I can combine that with the social proof and the power of a case study and testimonial, it's a 1-2 combo that's definitely going to make you guys a lot of money. So let's keep building on that a bit. So now we have, after this, we have a video, right? A video of Bob, and this could be your blog post or whatever. Just he needs to drive this point home, right? If he needs coached a bit or whatever, he's just going to drive this point home where it's like, hey, my life sucked until now. No, I'm kidding. But, hey, they gave me this unheard of guarantee of leads in a week or my money back, and I took the challenge, right? I don't know, and I took advantage. They doubled my business in 19 months, right? The owner, Mark, is handsome as heck. This is the things they're probably going to say. Oh, thanks, Grammarly. Appreciate that. Mark is handsome as heck. So that's the type of stuff that, this combination is a game changer. So now what I want to talk about, because this is easy enough, like the biggest piece of this is taking action, because I talked to a lot of guys about this, a lot of agency owners, and like when I kind of walk them through the process, they're like, wow, that makes complete sense. I bet that works really well. And I'm like, yeah, it does. And again, if you guys have ever seen like retargeting ads from like if you were looking to get like home renovations or anything really, and then you're in Facebook and there's a testimonial video from one of the happy customers talking about how great the service is, that's really powerful. Have any of you guys ever seen that? That's a strategy we use for our clients if they're on the media buying retargeting packages. Even if they're not, I always encourage clients to make some video content or get their happy customers to make some video content, incentivize it, and, get their permission to use it for marketing, because it's just so powerful. So like it's the logic's there. It makes complete sense of why this would work and how powerful it is. The biggest part is just taking the action, reaching out to the clients, figuring out how you can woo them to get them to make the video for you, coaching them through it a bit, getting all of that together. I definitely throw a piece of content on your blog, even if you're going to use a writing service. So for me, I'm really I write for a more sophisticated audience. It's like you guys, you have experience in digital marketing, so I'm very picky. I've never really found a ghostwriter that could do a super good job unless they like literally transcribed videos I made and then like removed the goofy like uhs and hums and stupid shit you say while you were speaking that you wouldn't necessarily type. So regardless, but for your audience where it's business owners, you're not discussing over, you don't want to discuss overly technical, aspects of SEO, and, you know, you're not going to be required to answer like schema specific questions and stuff in the comment section. So even if you get the data together and have just a really solid writer, if you pay $100, $200 for a really well put together article with images and stuff, I mean, that's not bad at all. I contracted manager from one of my other agencies for some side work to help me on a really big GMB guide we have dropping. It's like 30,000 words. And I mean, I invested some cash in that, but you guys aren't doing something that big. So even if you spend a couple $100, it's cheap. But considering the mileage you can get out of a piece of content like that, because now that you have that URL, you can, that can go in your sig line for your emails. It can get shared to social media pages, groups, people. It can be put into cold email if you're really about that life. It's up to you. However, today I want to talk about promoting the heck out of that content, and I do not want to talk about cold outreach or spamming Facebook places with it. What I want to do is, I guess, run through two things really quickly. The first one's going to be Facebook video ads, and you can also experiment with the Facebook ad that it's going to hyperlink to the blog article. But at the end of the day, if you do the Facebook video ad, here's what I would do. I would take your customer's testimonial and I would stuff it inside of your video. Okay, so that's something to consider. I wouldn't necessarily just run it. Here's the thing. So for cold traffic, let's just get a little more specific. For cold traffic, that's going to be one thing. For retargeting, you can probably get away with just using the client video. But why? Like you could get away with it, but I would advise that you do this. Get someone who is good on camera, that handles themselves well on camera. They speak well. They don't look like me, which is like a hairy homeless mountain man there. They look a little bit better on the old screen. And I would have them I would take the testimonial video and I would put it inside of this video. So customer testimonial vid inside of here, and I would be talking about this. So the guy I actually the reason I like putting inside of this is the one guy who was doing this. It's him and his, I don't remember if it's girlfriend, wife, fiance, I can't remember, but they're like a tag team duo. They do this together, and like it's funny because like when she's a part of the ads, they target a specific professional segment of the medical market, and like people will comment that she's like a very pretty person, and it's people like it's how the world works. People like people that are easy on the eyes. So I was like, dude, put her in the video and then have her do the pitch, where you now have the customer testimonial side of there where it's like, hey, we want to show you how we helped Bob get leads in 7 days that eventually turned into him doubling his agency in 19 months. Bang, the video of Bob happens, right? Very short. He gives the pitch. Yeah, they had an unheard of, right? Just like we laid out up here, they had an unheard of offer. I jumped in. It was almost too good to be true, but they had a money back guarantee, or they had whatever the risk reversal is, right? They had this amazing risk reversal, and within 19 months, my business doubled. I'm working with more teeth than I've ever worked with in my life. So essentially that's it. That's my advice. If you guys were to swipe this strategy, I would put the video inside of your own video. I would have the Facebook video ads, and then I would, you could try the add links to the blog article. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. It's not going to be as cheap as the video ad. If you guys really start seeing some success with it, you might be, you guys might want to look at the YouTube ads as well. That's something we're just getting into, so I don't have a ton of data on that, but the Facebook video ads we've used extensively. It works really well. So what I want to go over next is, I told you guys I wanted to show you a couple different ways, because this content doesn't just need to be digital. So I know you guys have probably, anyone that ever heard me speak before probably heard me talk about sending these, like printing these case studies out and sending them in lump email. I love lump email. Lump email can be a complete pain in the ass to get up off the ground. You can also outsource a lot of your lump email at 3dmailresults.com. It's a guy named Travis Lee, I believe his name is. They'll do completely done for you lump email. I think it starts at $750 a month for their retainer. There's also other places that do different done for you postcards and mail and stuff. So that makes it a little less of a pain to get started. We have stuffed envelopes in our offices before, and it's fun, but it can be a little crazy if you're a busy entrepreneur. Having said that, there's another way to go about it, and just having them, if you go to, again, I know Chaz mentioned going to Staples, but if you go and get these printed off and this case study and put in a nice folder or something like that, make sure everything links back. So if they do go to the website, your customer testimonial videos that you talk about, they're everywhere. Also, as you grow, having more than one case study that you can hand out is perfect. But having a folder of these and participating in some networking is really, really solid. So I know you guys have heard of like BNI. I'm personally not a BNI guy. I know people that have built their entire agencies off of BNI. I know you guys have heard of the Chamber of Commerce. Here's the one for Baltimore. It's pretty local to me. You can get a membership there. Again, it's one of those things. It's not going to get you rich, but everyone heard of those. I'm not going to say they're saturated, but there's a few that you might not have heard of. So this one, Entrepreneurs Organization, or EO, this is one I found out someone was using for a lot of acquisition. So I had one of my partner agencies look into it. And if your agency's at $1 million a year, I think, apply for member. I think it's $1 million a year. Yeah, during your most recent fiscal year, you can jump in here, and this has been a literal gold mine. It has been for this other guy that I swiped the idea from as well. Told you guys at the beginning, innovations overplayed. He built, he built multiple seven figures onto his agency just through being in this organization for a few years. We have landed an immense amount of clients off of being in this organization for a few years. It's definitely something to check out. There's the AMA, the American Marketing Association. This is a cool one. This is only for, I believe this is only for people under 45. I believe. Yeah. This is the more like Millennial and Generation Y. And if you guys can get past all of the mean things they say about our generations, there's actually some really incredible, highly motivated business owners in these things you can mess with.
Are you showing something else, Mark? On the screen, everyone just sees the Google Doc still.
Oh man, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just go down to share your
I
little
know how to
share
do
button
it.
and share your.
I don't need a tutorial on it, you goon. Give me a second, guys. I guess I should have just made it share my entire thing instead. Sorry about that, guys. That pisses me off. Let me get some of this. I started like Xing out of stuff as I was done talking about it. So let me pull some stuff back up here, guys. All right. There we go. So we talked about BNI. I imagine most of you guys heard about it. I'm not gonna reiterate, but I know agencies that got their entire start on BNI and that have grown to, they use it as a stepping stone. Right? BNI wasn't there. They didn't make $1 million a year off of just BNI. I'm not saying you can or can't, but I know people that have used it as a major stepping stone and then got referrals from those referrals and, like multiple agencies. And that's great. I haven't, but I wanted to mention it just because, I know enough people that have had, I'm thinking of three people off top that I know got an amazing start there. Your Chamber of Commerce groups, I looked at the one specifically in Baltimore City, and it has like the dues and stuff. The one I was just talking about is this one, EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization. This is the one that wants you to have $1 million in revenue during your most recent fiscal year. But again, this is the one that, I found out through a guy's project manager what he was using to scale his acquisition, and we just, one of my partner agencies, I got him to apply, and it's been really great for him. It's been really great for us. And then this one is the 45 and younger crowd, and then there's Score. I've never been a part of Score. So I'm not sure. It always gets mentioned along with the BNIs and the EOs and whatnot. So I figured I would at least bring it to you guys' attention. You can dig around, see if there's a chapter in your area, and if it's something that would potentially interest you. And another great way that it becomes a little bit of work for sure, but doing meetups in your area. I've never done this to acquire clients for my agencies, but essentially we do something similar. We do a once a year mastermind. We had one in Baltimore in October. We had one in Gettysburg last February, maybe January, February. And the thing is, it's people come together, you share really great ideas, and some great deals have come out of doing those. So same idea where you can put a meetup together, get an inexpensive place in your area, and essentially we're just pushing this content, whether you're at the BNI. BNI, I think, is a little different. I think they really get a little crazy about, I think you do an elevator pitch, right? I mean, you'd have to be clever, but you can still bring the folders and distribute them to everyone. And going into these places and having a case study, it's going to change from, hey, everyone's here pitching, each other, which is basically what it is, right? I mean, as much as you can get a lot of value out of the networking, everyone's trying to make some money from it. But when you have that, that solid, hey, here's how we're growing businesses. Everyone there has a business, and it can be pretty interesting. So that is my spiel. Got a question. Aren't the clients that give testimonials in danger, as in it's openly advertised that they have somebody rig the SERPs? I've never thought of it that way. I've never had a client be negatively influenced by that. I mean, that's your top performers in Google, right? Like in most spaces, they're all going to have an SEO, and it doesn't really need limited to rigging the SERPs. I try not to talk a whole lot about SEO during my sales. SEO is just one of the vehicles. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not too worried about stuff like that.
That was some good stuff, Mark. I liked how you brought up the EO Entrepreneurs Organization. That was really good.
All right, let me look at does anyone have any more questions on that? Or anything additional to talk about with that? So for your Facebook targeting, nice thing. So firstly, I'm not a Facebook ads guru. Like I have a guy, but I would target the specific niche you're looking to bring more customers in. So like if you're saying, hey, here's how we took, Bob the dentist and grew his dental practice. Remember the specificity. We should be talking specific about patients, practice, and I would target dentists, right? Same thing with lawyers. And if you were doing something on a geo level, I would target that geo plus business owners or something like that. And then for the retargeting, that's it's simple enough. But yeah, that's why I really like going after one niche as much as possible, which unfortunately I don't have a ton of niches I go after, but the agencies I work with or I'm a partner in, they are all predominantly focused on one niche, and there's some stragglers, right? Like there's friends or other people that just need work done, and they come, they refer to us or whatever. Like there's a few of those, but for the most part it's like one niche across the board. So I like working like that. Everything, you really become an expert after a few years of working in a specific niche. And like we always make a joke that all we need to do is pass the board and we could be our own lawyers. We work with so many lawyers for so long, and it shows during sales and during conversations, even with entry-level staff, just working with lawyers for so many years. I mean, they pick up the verbiage and kind of the nuances of what we can and can't do and what we can and can't say. And it's really impressive to a client when they're working with an organization that just knows their business and their model and their industry so well.